Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm gonna just do a little talk about the importance of teachers and how their roles can really impact on a child's life, on, you know, a parent's aspect, you know, kind of how they see their child and how they can help their child. That can make a huge difference to a child's life, and how a teacher helps and how it supports you. That is amazing, and it can really change lives. So I want to talk to you about my experiences with teachers, and yeah, that's going to be my video today. So yeah, let's get on with the video. My experiences with teachers has been almost like a roller coaster, you know. I've had some real great teachers, I've had some terrible, horrible teachers, and I've actually had some teachers that are just downright rude to me. And you know, I'm going to give you one example of a downright rude teacher. I was at school, I was running late for a science exam, and I didn't run, I just, you know, I was pacing, I was walking really fast because you're not allowed to run in the corridors. So I was walking fast and I pushed a pull door. So my wrist like went like that, and my bone like came out, right? And well, let's just say a teacher was there and she said, "Did that hurt?" And I said, "Yeah." She went, "Good," and walked off. And that is a horrible teacher. Like, no teacher should ever say that to you, regardless of if you're a troublemaker, the naughty kid. Like, no teacher should treat a student like that. Like, that is a no-go. So that's one teacher that annoyed me and didn't treat me with respect. So yeah, that's one teacher that I've reviewed for you. It's like we're almost on, like, what's that, like, is it Yelp or something like that? Like that like channel that, no, not channel, that website you can review things on. I'm reviewing teachers and I'm going to tell you the good ones. So the next teacher I had she was strict and she put boundaries with me. I didn't follow them, never followed them, and I made sure I didn't follow them because she was a real strict teacher, and authority and me at school never got on. I mean, we did not get on. I would deliberately kind of go out to annoy this teacher because I knew I'd get a reaction, and I wasn't getting stimulated any other way in school. Education was boring to me. I did not care for maths, science, English, drama. I did not care. I didn't care about that. I was bored and I wanted something to do, you know. So I went to one of these teachers, and to me it was like, come on then, I'm going to see how far I can push you to before you like pop at me. And it wasn't very long, I tell you that. But so yeah, one of the teachers I had, she was a tall teacher, really intimidating. She was definitely, you know, her style of teaching was almost like you're in the military. You're like, stand up straight, you have to wear a uniform, and you have to like stand like real still. That was her type of teaching, right? Her discipline. And, you know, I look back now and I kind of like that way of teaching, and I feel like that is a benefit because I definitely had boundaries, and I knew that there were boundaries, but where I was undiagnosed and I wasn't on any medication, I feel that if I was, those boundaries and that way of teaching could have been an asset and a real like opportunity for me to learn. Whereas where I was undiagnosed, not on medication, it was like crazy times. So that's like that's another version of a teacher, and I'm going to give you an example of what happened with me and that teacher that led to something quite serious. So, right, me and this teacher, I had a bad day, basically. I had a real bad day. I was in constant trouble, and I was only just back from an exclusion. And basically, when you've been excluded, you get put on this like trial week, I think it is, or something like that. And if you're naughty again, or like misbehave or cause drama, you're kind of in trouble again, and you'll get excluded for a long term, and it could actually potentially be like a permanent exclusion. So yeah, it can lead to more serious things when you're on the trial week and you like muck up again. And I did the day I came back. You know, my parents, this was the first exclusion that I had, and my parents were now aware of the severity of my behaviour. So yeah, it wasn't a great day anyway. I was mucking up, you know, all the drama, you know, all the poo hit the fan basically, and things went poof. And this teacher was on my tail all day. I was wearing the incorrect uniform. I had a hoodie under my blazer. I had jeans on. I wasn't allowed jeans. Hoodies were banned. I had Vans, you know, the shoes Vans. I was wearing black Vans, and yeah, you're not allowed to. So she was on my back already for that. She was real strict with uniform, and let's just say it did not end very well. You know, my parents got called in. I was then taken into the toilets by a police officer because I kicked off, and yeah, you know, drama just happened that day. And basically I ran away from the police officer because they weren't in the school for me. They was in the school doing a talk, but they overheard the radio and they were near, so they came and de-escalated the situation. They didn't, they made it worse. And one of the teachers was this teacher that I'm just talking about. She was crazy, like, I mean crazy. She made things a hell of a lot worse for me. She then followed me when I was running away. She like almost went, come on Molly, you know. She was like trying to catch me. So it was like a game for me. I was like, come on then. And I was like raging angry. I was really angry. And so, you know, she followed me and I went into matron's room, which is a school nurse. I got on in really well with her. We had a great relationship. I could talk to her, she could talk to me. She could like almost calm me down and get me on an even kill and say, Molly, look, that was your fault, mate. You done that. You got to take the consequences now. Like she did multiple times. She told me enough times, you know. And we had a relationship where it was back and forth banter and things, it worked well for me. But this teacher that was the military strict followed me into the matron's room. And let's just say I squared up to her and she was backed into a corner. And my fists were like ready to go, like I was fuming. And then I could see my parents in the mirror because they were sat behind me in the principal's office. And that was it. I just burst out crying. And it was like a whirlwind of anger, emotional, and I just couldn't take it anymore. And this teacher was nagging at me. And in the end, the school nurse, the matron, like grabbed hold of my wrist kind of thing and was like rubbing like, come on Moles, come on, let's go. And she calmed me down. But this other teacher was still going on. And I just turned around and was like, you know, like F off. Because I just had enough. And again, I was excluded again. But this brings me to the best part of this story. And it is one teacher, her name is Mrs. M. Well, it's not, but I'm going to say that for the sake of the video. Mrs. M. She changed my life. She came into my life when I needed an angel. Like, she was a guardian angel for me. She had my back. She was a lovely, like, I'm going to say old, but not in a horrible way. She was a lovely older lady. Like a nan, like a stereotype nan. You just wanted to go, oh. She was a lovely lady. And she had my back. Like, she fought my corner all the way through, even when I didn't deserve it. Like, even some of the things I'd done at school, like running away on the school trip in London, you know, I got up to so much bad stuff that she had my back the whole way through. And if it wasn't for her, I don't think I would have made it through school as far as I did. You know, it was her decision to put me on a, you know, what's that thing, like a timetable where you only go in, like a staggered timetable, you only go in like certain times. And in the end, she had to kind of take a step back from being my mentor. She had to, because she was told to by the head teacher, because, you know, I had her support all the way through, but it wasn't enough. I didn't stop. It was only getting worse. And in the end, she was always there for me, like always. But in the end, I had to go to a pupil referral unit, and, you know, I only went there once a week. And I was part-time in school, but I wasn't really allowed to get involved with Mrs. M anymore. You know, she was told to back off because her way of teaching me and disciplining me, you know, just was not working. So she kind of had to back off me. And then the teacher that I previously told you about, the military strict one, she was now my mentor. So, you know, nothing got better. Let's just say that. You know, I did get closer to the other teacher, you know, the military strict one. I had a great relationship with her. It built over time. But it was nothing like what I had with Mrs. M. And if I'm going to be honest, I still think about Mrs. M every day. I thank her in my prayers because she came to me. You know, I sadly lost my nan at a young age, and I didn't have another nan. I've only ever had one granddad and one nan, and it was like heartbreaking that, you know, when my parents kind of had enough and they couldn't cope, I was on my own because my granddad is an old school granddad, you know, and he sided with my parents, and he was totally like, you need to be disciplined, you need to be punished. And I had no kind of like, I don't know, like any understanding person that was on my side, because my granddad could see my mum going, and that's his daughter, going through hell with me, and my granddad was not okay with that. He did not like seeing his daughter upset, you know, and I totally get that, because when I have children and if that happens, I won't like someone, you know, being like that to my daughter, so I can imagine how hard it is. But I didn't have that easy love or that tough love from my nan that I hear everyone talk about. Like, your nan, you go to your nan's house and she feeds you, gives you all this. I never had that because I didn't have a nan. And Mrs. M was like a nan to me, and I looked at her and respected her just like I would if I had a nan. And I do believe that I got emotionally attached to her, and, you know, 6 years on from school and I'm still, you know, emotional about the situation. I still find it hard to let go of what I had, but she was such a special teacher that, you know, she's an important, and I wish every child had a Mrs. M in their life, in their educational journey, because she changed my life and I couldn't thank her enough, you know. All these teachers, you know, they all had a part of my journey, and Mrs. M and the military kind of strict one, her name's Mrs. C, but, you know, they both had a huge part. They're both my mentors, and together they both changed my life. They did, and I can't thank them enough, because, you know, who I am today is because of my mum, but also these two women as a teacher. They taught me stuff that no one could. You know, they taught me you need to change your mindset. You know, you can create amazing things. You can achieve your potential, and your potential is this, your potential is that. And they made me believe in myself more than anyone else ever has. But whilst I was undiagnosed, or not even I wasn't diagnosed, I feel like I never gave them the respect or the thank yous they deserved. And I mean, I don't know if they're actually watching. I don't know. Probably not. But if they are, or if you know who I am or whatever, just remember, just like, I want you to know that I'm thankful for everything that you've done for me, you know, and what you did for me may have just been your job, but, you know, it wasn't just a job. You didn't have to go above and beyond, and you did. And I couldn't thank you enough for what you've done, because you've given me an outlook on life that I may not necessarily have had if you didn't give it to me. You know, when I was upset at school, I knew I could go to you both, or I could go to Mrs. M especially, and, sorry, it just makes me a bit upset, but I knew that I could go to her if, you know, I went through some tough times with my parents. Like, my parents will even admit, like, they even said about, like, care, you know, going to live with my aunties. You know, it was getting to the point where my parents didn't like me. They loved me, they just did not like me. And that was hard to hear sometimes. And, you know, it's not their fault. They didn't have an answer, and they weren't getting the support that they needed for an ADHD child. And I wasn't getting the support for an ADHD child, you know. And it's not the school's fault, but I really wish someone would have picked up on it. And I know that Mrs. M and Mrs. C had told my parents about, you know, ADHD, but in those times, girls didn't have it, you know, girls weren't likely to have ADHD. But I just wanted to let the teachers on here, because I know a few follow me on my blogs, I want you to know that it may be just your job, but when you support a child and you know, and they say thank you and they appreciate it, you know, it doesn't just last for an hour or a minute, it lasts a lifetime. And I want you to know that, you know, through all of our hard times, you're always there. And, you know, when our parents aren't with us at school, we are very vulnerable and scared, and you're always there. And if, you know, if for I'm speaking for every child that can't say this to you. Thank you. Like, you can really make a difference, and you make differences in our lives every day just by being there and, you know, supporting us. And when we show challenging behaviour, that's the time when we need the most support, and you're always there, and you give us chance after chance, and you're always there for, you know, like, kind words, motivating lectures, advice, or whatever you want to call it. You're always there, and that is something that, you know, not every child has. So I feel, along with all these other kids I know, we're so lucky to have you, and I just want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Teachers like you are the reason why kids like us turn out great, you know, and we beat the stigma. And if I can say anything on behalf of us, is carry on doing that, and please help as many kids as you can, because you've changed my life and theirs. And thank you. Thank you for watching. You know, teachers are important, and you can really change a child's life and help parents, and you're the real superheroes. You got this, and thank you very much. I'll see you soon. Bye.